In the heart of medieval England, during the 12th century, there was a small farming village named Woolpit. Surrounded by dark forests and endless fields, life here was quiet, simple, and predictable. But one day, something happened that would change Woolpit forever. A mystery that has survived for more than 800 years. A story whispered around campfires, studied by historians, and feared by those who believe in other worlds. This is the tale of the Green Children of Woolpit. It was harvest season in Woolpit. The villagers were working in the fields under the dim autumn sun. Everything seemed ordinary until a strange noise echoed from the edges of the forest. Curious farmers walked toward the sound, and what they saw left them speechless. Standing near a wolf pit, a deep trap used to catch animals, were two children, a boy and a girl. Their clothes were made of an unknown material. Their language was unlike anything anyone had ever heard. But what shocked the villagers most was their skin. It was green, a deep, unnatural green, like the color of leaves in the forest. The children looked frightened, weak, and confused, as if they had been lost for days. The villagers could not believe their eyes. Who were they, and how did they get here? The villagers brought the children back to Woolpit. At first, the people didn't know how to treat them. The children were weak, and they refused every type of food the villagers offered. Bread, meat, even fresh fruits, they pushed them away with shaking hands. The only thing they would eat were raw beans pulled straight from their stalks. Their language was even stranger. When they tried to speak, their words sounded like no language known in England or even Europe. It was filled with strange tones and rhythms, almost musical, yet completely alien. Despite their fear, the children clung to each other, never letting go. The villagers watched them carefully, some with pity, others with suspicion. Who were these children with green skin, strange tongues, and unnatural hunger? Were they cursed, or did they truly come from another world?
The boy, the younger of the two, grew weaker with every passing day. Even though he ate the raw beans, his body could not recover. His skin, pale green under the village sun, seemed to fade. His small frame trembled, and his eyes often stared into the distance as if he longed for a world no one else could see. The villagers tried everything: warm clothes, fresh water, even prayers at the church. But nothing worked. Within a few weeks, the boy became so fragile he could barely stand. His sister stayed by his side, whispering in their strange language, tears running down her green cheeks. One morning, as the mist hung over Woolpit's fields, the boy closed his eyes and never opened them again. The villagers buried him quietly in the churchyard. It was the first time the people of Woolpit truly wondered, had they just buried a child or a visitor from another world?
While the boy's story ended in tragedy, the girl's journey had only just begun. After her brother's burial, the villagers of Woolpit decided to care for her. At first, she refused to eat anything except raw beans, just like her brother. But hunger eventually won. Slowly, she began to taste bread, cooked vegetables, and even meat. Day by day, her strength returned. The pale green in her skin started to fade, turning closer to the normal complexion of the villagers. And with time, she began to learn their language. The villagers were astonished.
From a strange child who once could barely communicate, she was now telling them stories about the mysterious land she and her brother had come from, a land with no sun, only a twilight glow. But the biggest mystery remained. Was she from Earth or from another world?
As the girl's language improved, the villagers pressed her with questions. "Where did you and your brother come from?" they asked. She told them a story unlike anything they had ever heard. She said they came from a land called St. Martin's Land. It was not like England. There was no bright sun, no daylight. The land was always bathed in a dim green twilight, as though the sun was always setting. The people there were just like them, except for their strange green skin. Everyone in that land lived underground, in vast caves and tunnels. The fields grew crops, but only plants that could survive without sunlight. She explained that she and her brother were tending their father's livestock when they followed the sound of a bell. They wandered into a dark cave, and when they emerged, they found themselves in Woolpit. The villagers were stunned. Was this land real, or had the girl's imagination created a world that defied nature itself?
The villagers could not stop thinking about the girl's words. A land without sun? People with green skin living underground? It sounded impossible. Yet, there she was, standing in front of them, proof that her story might be true. Scholars from nearby towns came to Woolpit to hear her tale. Some believed she was describing a hidden world connected to ours through mysterious tunnels. Others thought she came from a distant land, separated by language and strange customs. But the most chilling detail was the sound of the bell. The girl insisted that it was real, a bell that lured her and her brother through the darkness. What was this bell? Who rang it? And why did it lead them to Woolpit? The more she spoke, the more questions arose, and the less anyone could explain.
The most accepted explanation is that the children were lost foreigners, likely from the Flemish community that lived nearby during the 12th century. Their strange language was Flemish, unfamiliar to the villagers of Woolpit. The green tint of their skin? That was probably caused by chlorosis, also called green sickness, a type of anemia brought on by malnutrition. Once the girl began eating a normal diet, her skin color slowly returned to normal. As for the underground world and the sound of the bell, it may have been the confused memory of two starving, frightened children who wandered through the dense forests and caves until they stumbled into Woolpit. So while the tale feels like legend, the truth may be far more human. Two lost children, misunderstood by the world they entered and remembered forever as the Green Children of Woolpit.